Does the green messages.
The green message era. So I was Android for the longest time.
I changed him.
She changed me. Some kiss emojis, little heart emojis. Ugh. Gross.
I'm cringing a little as to like, what were our first text messages? When you're going on a first date, you're like, well, this could be a nothing burger. Like, this could be someone that I meet for an hour and like, you don't think about when you're going out on the first date, like, oh, this is a story I'm going to tell for the rest of my life. August of 2020. I made him do 3 social distance dates before we had an in-person date. I was not going to bring home COVID from an internet boy. And so we met at Prospect Park and had a very long date.
Very long date. We were there for
4 hours.
Yeah, for a while. Yeah. And then before we knew it, it was like 10 p.m. We're like, we should go home.
I think going through the months, the first few months of the pandemic was really actually probably the best thing to happen for my dating life. I was ready to be much more intentional about being vulnerable and being picky and knowing what I was looking for and articulating that and articulating, being ready for a relationship. I think that was a good catalyst for being ready to fall in love.
I had gone on a bunch of dates. I was dating basically for a year or two, but like nothing really stuck. And so it was a lot of time to figure out, okay, why is it not sticking? I was not ready for a relationship at that point. I had that kind of aha moment during the pandemic. And so I was really ready to get out of that pandemic, so to speak, and start dating. And it just so happened that Sarah was one of the first matches after that.
I didn't go on any other dates. That was really the only date that I went on.
Yeah.
We found each other, I think, at the exact right time for one another.
Because I had just moved from Manhattan to Brooklyn.
He would have been out of my radius.
I got the ring in May of 2023. And then a few months after that, I went to Chicago for a business trip. And then I stayed with your parents, and it was at that point that I talked to your parents about it, of like, hey, I really want to marry your daughter.
They were very touched because that's not, like we had talked about, not needing to ask permission, including them, but not needing to ask permission.
It was very much more of a heads up, this is going to happen.
They loved it, that they felt very included.
Good,
and
yeah.
The next day I got a text of like, can we add Fernando to the family group chat?
Your mom has no chill. We had already a trip planned out to Seattle. I took the opportunity to start emailing with her friends to be like, hey, I think I'm going to propose to Sarah. And I think it would be very meaningful that you all are there. We were in cahoots. We were talking. We planned a whole picnic.
We went on our hike. And all of a sudden, everyone ran away.
So all your friends kind of disappeared, and you're like trying to run after
like,
them.
Oh, we're falling behind.
Yeah, let's meet up. And I'm like, no, wait. To the point where I was like a little short. I'm like, no, Sarah, wait. And you're like, why? And then that's when
I was like, oh, okay.
I see.
We did like a little champagne toast on the mountain, and I was really holding it together until someone asked, like, oh, how's Carlin doing? She's my best friend here from childhood and here in New York. And at that moment, she came up behind us, and Johnny, Fernando's best friend, had also flown out from New York, and I had seen them both like 48 hours earlier in New York.
Yeah.
And here they were like on a mountain in Seattle with us to celebrate our engagement.
There's a lot of things that I love about Sarah. When people show up, like, they always feel comfortable. They feel like they can reach out to Sarah to be like, I need this, I need some help. She's incredibly intelligent. We have a lot of conversations where she's kind of going at 100 miles a second, and I'm trying to keep up, but sometimes I can't. But those are some of my favorite moments with her.
Fernando has so many qualities that I love. He is incredibly kind. He is incredibly thoughtful and considerate and has this rich inner life where he is just constantly problem solving. And the fact that you've let me in on that like inner world, I know is like a big privilege. I know that's not a place a lot of people get to see. And you care for me in really, really thoughtful and special ways.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you.
On behalf of Sarah and Fernando, welcome to this celebration of the love and commitment of this wonderful couple. Sarah, you bring this infectious energy and yes, we can optimism to everything that you do. Fernando, you have a groundedness and a rare kindness that puts everyone at ease when they're with you. I remember when Josh and I first hung out with you on your trip to California. When we closed the door behind you, we literally turned to each other and said, "Can we keep him?"
Sarah, as we stand here today, I am filled with love. Love that flows from support of our friends and family surrounding us. I remember the first time we met in Prospect Park. You looked up at me, and you smiled. That smile hooked me in. So much so that when I laid out my blanket to sit, I sat a little closer than the CDC mandated 6 feet. I promise to always be on your team, supporting you in all that you do. From your passion in reading articles and charts about socioeconomic mobility, to your predictions about which Dancing with the Stars couple will make it to the end. I'm rooting for the Palma Horse guy. I promise to build a welcoming home together, one where we can host friends and family and that we can feel cared for. Sarah, I love you more and more every passing day. And I'm thrilled to begin this new chapter of our lives together.
Fernando, we have envisioned this moment, savored the anticipation, and I'm so glad to be here, surrounded by all the people who are dearest to us. You are curious. I love the way how your brain lights up when you learn something new, whether it's a new technology or how to make bread. For the record, I loved you before you brought dough into my life, but knowing that I have a lifetime of homemade bread and pizza really sealed the deal. I've been asked when I knew that you were the one. One of the moments that comes to mind is when you took me scuba diving for the first time. My brain was freaking out. You would swim up next to me, take my hand, look into my eyes, and immediately my heart rate would go down. Our breathing would sync up, and suddenly I was okay again. How lucky am I that you can grab my hand when we're 30 meters underwater, literally or figuratively, and make me feel confident that we're gonna make it through. You're the man that I want to dream with. You are my happy beginning. You are the great love of my life. I love you.
Family and friends, do you promise to support Sarah and Fernando in their marriage, to celebrate their wins loudly and stand with them when times are difficult, to help them even if they might not ask? And very importantly, do you promise to party as hard as you possibly can at tonight's reception? Hecho! Fernando, Sarah, with your loving community, friends, and family all around you, it is my greatest joy to pronounce you husband and wife. Congratulations, you two. Seal it with a kiss.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you can hear my voice, please stand to your feet right now. Make some noise for Sarah Barrett and Fernando Ramirez.
I've been worried all day that I've just been burst into tears, so it was kind of a relief to see Fernando tear at first. Now she has someone else who's very reliable and is really good at making a home and showing up for her and making some really damn good bread.
My name is John Long and I'm Fernando Ramirez's best friend. But I didn't have any indication that we truly were best friends until I was setting up our internet one day and I was using Fernando's Verizon account. And one of his security questions was, what is the name of your best friend? Sarah, thanks for being the best thing that's ever happened to Fernando. And if Fernando turns out to be half as good at being a husband as he has been a friend to me, then you'll have a wonderful life together. To Fernando and Sarah.
August 8th. I think this might be it. I sent this text message at almost 11. Just a little follow-up. Really had a great time today.
With four Ys. Really with four Ys.
How would you feel about doing dinner back on Vanderbilt sometime this week?
Wow. He asked for a second date the first...
It was a great first date.
Yeah.
And you replied, smiley emoji? Same.
So withholding.